Good morning, everyone. We are Team 2. I'm Genrui Zhang. Here is my team member Xiaodong Xia and Wenjie Li. Today, I'm going to talk about the role of foreign direct investment, or FDI, in China's electric vehicle industry. This is an important topic because China has become the biggest electric vehicle market in the world. Over the past 10 years, China's EV industry has grown very fast. In the past, it was still a young industry with limited technology, but now China sells over 8 million EVs a year, which is more than 60% of the world total. This growth happened because of strong government support, new technologies, and people caring more about the environment. National plans like Made in China 2025 and the new Energy Vehicle Industry Development Plan helped make this happen. FDI has also played a big role. It brought not only money, but also new technology and global business ideas. One great example is Tesla's Shanghai Gigafactory. It was the first car factory in China, fully owned by a foreign company. It helped China reach its goal for innovation and production. Other companies like Volkswagen, BMW, and Toyota has also invested in China through factories, partnerships, and research centers. But investing in China is not always easy. Foreign companies must deal with both formal rules like laws and policies, and informal rules like local habits, relationships, and even regional favoritism. These informal things like 关系 or connections are just as important as official rules. They can affect how a company gets approvals, works with suppliers, and even earns trust from Chinese consumers. So the biggest question is, can foreign companies succeed in such a complex system? So this presentation argues that success depends on understanding both formal and informal parts of the Chinese system. Companies that follow the rules but also respect the local way of doing things are more likely to do well. By looking at government policies and real company examples, we can learn what helps foreign firms succeed or fail in China's EV market. So let's spare it for Xiaodong to introduce more.
Okay, thank you, Gary. First, let us introduce the formal institution. A formal institution consists of behavioral norms that are clearly defined and overseen by the organization in which the actors operate. These norms require force to ensure implementation. Laws, regulations, policies, and contracts all belong to the scope of the formal institution, which is always associated with state power or a certain organization. A formal institution is important to a state. If a country lacks formal institution, it will be difficult to achieve political stability and economic development. A country with an effective formal institution can enforce laws, protect the property of enterprises, and create a fair business environment. China's well-developed formal institution has helped it attract many foreign direct investments, which has contributed to its economic growth. We believe that China's formal institution is key to FDI success because it binds and regulates FDI behavior while facilitating and reducing FDI risk to improve efficiency. Now let's take a closer look at the EV industry and discuss China's formal institution. Next. The Chinese government places great importance on FDI in the EV sector and has developed a comprehensive formal institution based on EV market development. In terms of market access, China legally stipulates that FDI receives the same treatment as domestic companies and has simplified the approval process. This reduces barriers for FDI entering China and attract more FDI into the EV industry. Regarding shareholding, China has removed restrictions on FDI shareholding in the EV industry, providing FDI with greater freedom to promote FDI development in China's EV industry. FDI can obtain professional policies such as subsidies and low interest loans if they meet the conditions. Compared with the peripheral policies, some formal institutions have a constraining effect. These include subsidy policy adjustments, production requirement adjustments, and regulatory mechanism. These factors do not allow FDI to develop freely in China. Instead, they subject it to constraints and challenges posed by formal institutions. We will use two business cases to illustrate why the formal institution is key to FDI get success. A classic example of success under the formal institution is Tesla's Shanghai Superfactory. The removal of shareholding restrictions enabled Tesla to establish a wholly owned factory in Shanghai. The Shanghai government provided Tesla with land, low-interest loans, and subsidies to facilitate establishment of the superfactory. A streamlined approval process shortened the project cycle, enabled the superfactory to begin construction and deliver the first electric cars in less than a year. The Shanghai plant is China's first wholly foreign-owned new energy vehicle company, and it sells Chinese-built electric vehicles to Europe and Australia. In construct, VW's new electric cars faces challenges due to the formal institution. The company expects to receive government subsidies for its new EVs and has a pricing and sales strategy in place. However, adjustments to the subsidy policy and the changes in production requires have resulted in VW's new EVs not being subsidies. This has led to a new challenge in the production and delivery of VW's new EVs, as well as price increase due to the lack of subsidies, making the product less competitive in the marketplace. VW has had to adjust its strategy in response to the changes in the formal institution. Compared to the Tesla, VW's investment program has faced many difficulties due to the adjustments in the formal system. Let's introduce Wenjie Li introduce more.
Yeah, thank you, Xiaodong. Yeah, for my part, I would like to share some thoughts on an important topic, how to succeed in doing business in China, especially when it comes to investing in the electric vehicle industry. One big factor that often gets overlooked is understanding and adapting to informal institutions. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly are informal institutions? Simply, but they are the unwritten rules that shape how things get done. This include culture habits, social practice, and networks of personal relationships. Unlike formal rules like laws and regulations, informal institutions are more about how people actually behave and interact. In a country like China, these informal aspects can greatly impact business success. You can't just follow the official rules and expect everything to work out. For example, building strong relationships, it means 关系 in Chinese, as called in China, is absolutely uh, ancient. Take Tesla, for instance. Their success in Shanghai wasn't just because they follow government policies. It was also because they built good relationships with local officials. Thanks to these connections, Tesla managed to set up a super factory smoothly. This clearly shows that even if the official business environment looks favorable, informal networks and good local relationships are just as important. In China's EV market, understanding informal institutions means knowing that relationships and trust can make or break deal. Companies that invest time in building these connections are more likely to succeed. So it's not just about having the money or the technology. It's also about building the right social ties and respecting local consumers. And for the next page, now let's talk about how multinational companies can actually adapt to these informal institutions. The first and probably the most important strategy is to build strong relationships or 关系. In China, having good personal connections with local leaders and officials can really smoothen business operations. One good example of this is Tesla CEO Elon Musk. He often visits China, meets local leaders, and shows his commitment to the market. These visits are not just about formal meeting. They are about showing respect and building trust. It's a smart move because it makes the company feel more rooted in the local environment. But it's not just about personal relationships. Companies also need to localize their operations. Localization doesn't just mean setting up factories or hiring local staff. It's about understanding local rules, cultural habits, and consumer preferences. For example, Tesla partnered with CATL, a top Chinese battery maker. This wasn't just a business deal. It showed Tesla's willingness to integrate into the local industry. Such partnerships help reduce conflicts and make operations more efficient. Plus, when local people see a foreign company working closely with local business, it builds a sense of connection and trust. Another important point is cultural uh, resilience. In China, consumers don't just look for high quality products, they also want brands that respect local culture. For example, Volkswagen made some of its cars with Chinese design. This small change made their cars more appealing to local buyers. When brands can blend global quality with local tastes, they naturally win more consumer loyalty. Companies also need to keep in mind that adapting to informal institutions is not a one-time thing. It requires ongoing effort and continuous learning. The business environment can change, and so people's expectations. Companies that stay flexible and keep building relationships will have a better chance of long-term success. And the next page, let's move on to how informal institutions play a big role when things go wrong. Crisis management in China can be tricky because people care not just about what happened, but also how the company responds. If a company doesn't act responsibility or shows a lack of respect, it can seriously damage its image. A great example is what happened with BMW's RX3 battery issue. There were complaints about battery defects, and the Chinese team acted quickly. They publicly apologized, offered refunds, and communicated openly with consumers. This approach really helped calm things down and kept consumer trust intact. On the other hand, Tesla faced a brake failure issue in 2021. At first, people were really angry, but Tesla's Chinese team quickly apologized, promised to be more transparent, and even set up a local data center to address safety concerns. This response made a big difference because it aligned with what people in China expect: responsibility and transparency. In China, when a problem arises, it's not just about fixing the issue. It's about showing the company cares about the people affected, acting fast, being open, and demonstrating a commitment to solving the problem are crucial. Companies that take these steps can turn a crisis into opportunity to strengthen their reputation. When dealing with crisis, it's easy to understand the local culture and social expect expectations. If a company appears indifferent or indifferent, it could make the situation worse. But if they take quick, resp responsible actions and communicate clearly, they can actually gain more respect and loyalty. This is why it's important to stay prepared and have a crisis management plan that respects local norms. To sum up, I'd like to emphasize that succeeding in China's EV market requires more than just finance investment and technology know-how. It demands a deep understanding of informal institutions, building strong relationships, localizing business practice, and showing cultural respect and not just nice to have strategies. They are issue to they are essential for the navigating the complex business landscape. Moreover, during crisis, companies should uh, act responsibly, and comment openly to maintain public trust. Now I have finished my part. I hope this gives you guys useful insights into importance of informal institutions in China's EV market. Next, Geng will talk about his part.
Okay, thanks, Wenjie. In conclusion, both formal and informal institutions play a key role in the success or failure of foreign direct investment in China's electric vehicle industry. Formal institutions refer to government rules and policies. These include industry support, easier approval processes, and changes in ownerships rules. For example, Tesla Shanghai factory was a great success because the government supported it with land, funding, and clear policies. However, the case of Volkswagen shows that when the government suddenly changes policies like battery subsidies, it can hurt a company's plans and reduce its competitiveness. So, even though formal systems can help foreign companies enter and grow in the market, and they are also unpredictable and must be watched carefully. Informal institutions are more like social relationships and culture. In China, local governments and companies often build trust and strong connections. Tesla got fast support in Shanghai because it built a good relationship with the local government. On the other hand, if a foreign company does not understand Chinese culture or public feelings, it may face reputation risks. Companies that respect Chinese traditions, build local communities, and respond to customer feedback tend to do much better. In short, to succeed in China's fast-moving EV market, foreign firms must follow the formal rules, but also understand and adapt to the culture and the social values. Only by working well with both systems, formal and informal, can a company stay strong and grow in this complex market. Here is our presentation. Thank you very much for your listening.